Hello world! Welcome back to episode 4 of the Adventures of Alolan Ninetales. I have made one additional adjustment to the deck, the one that I sort of talked about expecting to make, that I've removed Mallow for an extra VS Seeker. Let's go ahead and get a match. Okay, we're against Dark and Colorless, so this is often going to be a Zoroark Drampa deck, which isn't great for us, but it's not horrible. They have a little bit of a tough time one-shotting Ninetales. We get an okay start with 2 Vulpixes. Is it plural of Vulpix? Vulpix or Vulpixes? I'm not sure. Go ahead and click done. They are going... Oh! Alrighty, so we are against a Yveltal EX deck. That's a little different. Silent Lab comes down. That hinders us from getting a complete setup. But it shouldn't be too big of a deal. We get an in, which actually helps us. We'll get an extra card out of the deal, so that's cool. And it doesn't help us as much as I said. Okay, so we're looking at a Yveltal Drampa deck. That's interesting. Let's see what we top deck. And here again, I have 2 Field Blowers in my hand, and I'm like, I'm not going to play either one unless I need to get rid of the Silent Lab in order to use a Lele, like if we top deck an Ultra Ball. But we don't. We top deck a Lysandre. So I think all we're going to do is attach to the benched Vulpix and then Beacon. We could Lysandre. If we Lysandre, it puts him further away from being able to attack. So I guess we'll do that. I'm inclined to think that we Lysandre heaviest target. I think the other Yveltal. And then I think we want to attach a water energy down here. There's an argument that a DC might be better, but I don't think it's necessary. And then we will Beacon. We'll get 1 Ninetales, and assuming we have Octillery, we'll get a Remoraid. I say that. Should we get a Lele? I guess we'll get... We want to get Octillery starting to set up, so we'll get Octillery, and we'll get a Lele. They're probably going to end us anyway, but we can use a Field Blower to get rid of the stadium and then play Lele next turn. I think we want to make more progress next turn if possible. And even if they end us, that's fine. We're okay with that. Alrighty. So now they're going to be able to attach Float Stone and retreat, which will let them take a KO on the active Vulpix. And they are going to use the VS Seeker to get an in. So, what do we see now? Well, we get another Vulpix, but that's not going to be enough to do much for us. We'll probably just end up repeating basically our first turn. I still have a Field Blower. If we get an Ultra Ball, we have options, but if we don't, we have fewer. get a VS Seeker instead. So we're going to bench the Ninetales. We'll again attach a water energy. And I think again we play Lysandre. I think even though it helps his setup to have a baby Yveltal out, I think that's worth it to us. So we'll VS for Lysandre and then Beacon. Once again for this time I really like I want to get Remoraid up, but I think it's a choice between Remoraid and developing our board state more. I think we need to work on our board state, so we'll do a Ninetales and a Lele. Because there's a reasonable chance that he will be able to KO our Vulpix if we just keep leaving Vulpixes out. He gets another Float Stone, so he will take another KO. Does he also have another N? Yes, he does. Okay, do we get anything playable off of this N? Okay. So, alright, we top deck a Lele. That's nice. So we will go ahead and play the Field Blower. I think we will get rid of the Silent Lab. And I think we also will get rid of the Float Stone on this guy. So now we'll be able to. Okay, so with Lele, what are we wanting to get? I think we're going to want to play an N, probably. Bench Lele. Let's look at our deck. So if we get Brigette, what would we put out? We'd put out a Remoraid and a Vulpix and a Koko. I don't think that's worth it. We have all of our DCEs available in the deck still. We have a Float Stone on the bench, in our hand, not on the bench. Choice Bands. I think we want in. So we'll do that. I believe we're going to play the Ultra Ball to get our Ninetales out. And I think we're just going to discard the VS. And I guess the Float Stone. We'd rather keep both of the DCEs to be able to use them. So right now our opponent, it's 20 plus the number of energies. So if we have a total of 6, that's 120, 140. With a choice band, that could be 170. With another DCE, he could hit 210. That's asking for perfect cards, so I think this is safe. And then we'll go ahead and play in. We do get a Remoraid out. We have a water energy, so that we'll be able to potentially take a KO next turn. So we'll bench Remoraid. We'll go ahead and bench Koko just in case he hits the magic numbers to get a KO on our Ninetales. And we'll play the Dive Ball to get our last Vulpix. You could argue that I should have just waited and used the Dive Ball next turn to get Octillery, but I think we're far enough behind in board state that we need it now. I kind of, well, so even if he choice bans Drampa, he can only hit us for a total of 180. So I'm trying to decide who I should Ice Blade. So we're going to Ice Blade. Who do we want to attack? If we attack the active, we can take a KO on the active next turn with Kukui anyway. So that seems a little silly. I think we're going to do the, well, I guess we'll hit Drampa. We also have choice bands left in our deck, so there's all kinds of ways for this to go well for us. Obviously, being behind 2 prizes isn't all too great, but we have some potential. We see Zoroark come out. The one thing that will hurt us is if he forces us to play the 7 prize game. Since we do not have access to Lysandre next turn, that's a possibility. See him Ultra Ball for another Drampa, even though he has no bench space. He might be wanting to capitalize on the damage that is on his currently benched Drampa, expecting me to take a KO next turn. Okay, so he's going to retreat into Drampa and discard my DCE. No. Well, yes. He's just going to use Zoroark to do it. How do we feel about that? It's okay. We don't love it. So we'd be able to hit him for another 50. Could be 70 with Kukui. Or it would be 80 if we go fishing for a choice band. If we top deck a choice band, making it for 100 might be worthwhile, might be good enough to make us... Oh. And we don't actually see... I was really expecting to see an attack with Drampa there, but he doesn't take it, so that's kind of nice. We'll play the Aqua Patch to get an energy onto our benched Vulpix. We will attach an energy to Alolan Ninetales, and so we're back to the same question. We've got 30 cards left in our deck, so each card has a roughly 10% chance of being a choice band. If we play Kukui and then we attack the active Yveltal, when we take a KO, we will have 2 energy left on us. Their Yveltal will do 120 damage, which is a perfect number to hit a KO, to return the KO and leave us in a pretty crappy spot. So I think we're going to play Sycamore and run the risk of not taking a KO. But we may still get there. So play the Rough Seas, heal ourselves. This protects us from the bad condition of getting a KO, getting return KO'd. So now we're going to Ultra Ball away the Sycamore and the Aqua Patch. We'll get another Ninetales out. Then we'll Octillery and hope that in our next 3 cards we can get a Choice Band. We do not. So that sucks a little bit. Now the question is whether we want to attack the active or not. And I'm inclined to say no. So once again, let's do the numbers. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 140 plus 30, 20, 160. We have 150 left, so he can take a KO with the Yveltal if we leave things like this. That was the wrong play, but I was running out of time because I don't yet know this deck well enough to decide what to do. I think we weren't going to take a KO anyway. We've now put Drampa into one-hit KO range, but unfortunately we're in one-hit KO range with if and when he activates. Oh, but he is a break, so he has the abilities, as do we. Now that's interesting. If he was going to attack with that, okay. I see no point to the shenanigans there, but whatever. He's going to take the KO. And we will stick out Koko as our free retreater. And I think we just attach and then play Sycamore. Actually, let's play, we have an N in here. Let's play N. Get our opponent down to 2 cards. Because we have water energy in there now as well. We're hoping to hit an Aqua Patch and a Choice Band. We do, so we get the one-hit KO. And we have nothing in our deck currently to Ultra Ball, but we can play Abyssal Hand. And next turn we will get another KO, one way or another, probably via our GX onto Drampa. That's my guess. So take this KO and then go from there. Discard the energy, which helps us avoid getting KO'd by Yveltal. Neither of those prizes help us in any way. So if he if he puts enough damage onto us for us to hit Drampa and get a KO, I think we play the VS Seeker. We probably Ultra Ball to get some cards out of our hands, and then we play the VS Seeker to get Lysandre. So we can Lysandre up the Drampa and get 2 prizes that way, and completely heal ourselves with the GX stack. That's a-okay by me. Even if he has some way to activate Drampa's 180 attack, even if he had Kukui and a Rainbow Energy, that still only does 200. So that's not going to be a problem for us. But instead, he brings out Yveltal. So I think this game is actually going to be ours. We see a Y Cyclone for 90. This puts us in range for Drampa to get a KO. However, we're not going to let that happen. We're going to play an Ultra Ball and get rid of these 2 cards. There's an argument that I should have kept the Lele, but I didn't. Just wanted to thin the deck. Nothing to retrieve. So if we have 3 energy on, that's 3, 6 is 120, 140, 170. We can attach, I think we can safely attach 1 water energy here. And then we will Lysandre Drampa and take 2 prizes while completely healing ourselves. We'll go ahead and Abyssal Hand. And use our GX attack. Okay, and we got another Lysandre, so we can get a KO. Assuming our opponent does not have a Field Blower, we will be able to take a KO next turn. I don't think there's any way for them to knock us out. So I think this game is ours. I had a bit of a slow start, which makes me think that maybe we need to refine our deck list a little bit more, but we'll see how things go. Okay, so we're going to get hit with 140, right, so 140, 170, that's not enough. Okay, 190, if you were able to hit, alright, he didn't hit though. Okay, so, good deal. I'm curious to see what our opponent's going to do. His hope, I guess, here is that we do not have our other Lysandre, but we do have our other Lysandre, so his hope is dashed. If he has a DCE, what is that? Where does that leave the numbers? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If he has another DCE, okay, we would have been in trouble. He doesn't, so we win. Nah. Sorry, that was misclick. clicking over Arvasi to Camtasia, but we take it down. Our opponent conceded before we could do our final attack. We don't know if he said well played back to us.